Hey, welcome back. Thanks for being here. I'm not sure self-sufficiency is a thing. We throw it around a lot. There's a bunch of channels dedicated to it. People say, well, I want to be self-sufficient or self-sustaining. I want to be reliant on my own abilities. And I'm not sure that either A, that is possible, or B, that you're not there in some form already. I think saying that you're self-reliant is kind of like saying you are the fitness.
Wait, what'd he say?
This is something that we strive toward, not something that we are.
If Dr. Ouchie can be the science, I can be the fitness.
So what does that mean? We give up? No. I'm going to give you some good news next. Fitness is something we strive toward. Fitness is also something that fades when you stop doing it, when you stop doing the fitness. I think being self-reliant is very similar. I could honestly look you in the eye and say, we are today self-sufficient. But we'd only be self-sufficient for a week, 2 weeks. Well, we probably could make it about 4 months. But that's the point. Something would give. Now, even if you're an off-grid expert, and if you're wondering what this is for, we're going to increase our self-sufficiency massively by the end of this video. Even people who are experts at off-grid living and everything else, at some point are going to have something that wears out that they're going to need from town. For example, we've worked really hard to have a secondary power source on this property. So we have a generator hooked up to our house that will keep our freezers running. We have enough fuel to last them approximately 6 months. But guess what? After 6 months, if I haven't switched to something else, that self-sufficiency is gone. We have bred and raised pigs. And currently, not only are both sows pregnant, it's not for you, but we've got some piglets on the property too. This increases our self-sufficiency. What's up, guys? Good morning. We've been breeding and raising our own chickens. More self-sufficiency. But if I lose power for any amount of time, that means I'm going to be harvesting one chicken at a time. And how long does that last? I have yet to set up everything where I can be on the rotation that I would not need some sort of electricity. Let's say that I have mastered smoking and salting and all of the old ways. And I know how to preserve everything without power. And I have all my gardens growing just so. All my winter feed lined up for the animals and such. Last year, at roughly this time, I wasn't feeling well. A couple months later, I failed a physical. A few months after that, I had heart surgery. You know what that did to all of our self-sufficiency plans? So even if I had everything lined up, even if I had everything squared away, 10 years worth of food stored up, where's the self-sufficiency? There's an expiration date for self-sufficiency or self-reliance. Now, I think we should change the term to resiliency. Now, why does that matter? Why do terms matter? Because words have meanings, my friends. Resiliency, like fitness, is something that you can start working on right now. You might be one of those people that could join the cast of My 600-Pound Life, but you know what? The first time you say no to some sort of unhealthy food, the first time you put on your shoes to go exercise, you are becoming more fit. So I think we should aim for resiliency as opposed to self-sufficiency. If we can make ourselves more resilient than those ups and downs in life, start to level out a little bit because we can handle them. We know how to take care of things. If you were only looking at the Olympics and watching these athletes run who are extremely fit, you would think, I'll never get there. What's the point? 111, 112. I got your resiliency right here. If you were only watching YouTube channels where people had all the self-sufficiency and all the resiliency already banged out, it could be very overwhelming and daunting. But do you know, this lifestyle is a journey. And you must enjoy the journey. But it's true. Every little thing you do to become more resilient you're becoming more resilient. You can enjoy that. This has been one of the greatest 7-day periods on our homestead that we've ever enjoyed. All of our equipment is working. The gardens were planted on time. Animals are breeding successfully. It's just been fantastic. The family's healthy. The complications from heart surgery have abated. It's just been wonderful. But I could instead be moping that I haven't figured out a methane generator yet to power my property off-grid completely. Or that I haven't figured out salt curing, or, meat canning, or whatever other innumerable lists of things that I would like to eventually have done. But instead I can stop and say, we are so much further than we were last year at this time. We have made so many strides. It's amazing. It's a blessing. And now I'm out here on a morning with you, hanging out on my property. It's like 75 degrees. The animals are well. We're well. And we're fixing to go get the next stage of resiliency knocked out. And while that might not be for a few more days, through the magic of editing, you're going to see it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to meet Pedro. Pedro is our new bull. He's about 4 months old. He's 75% Dexter and 25% Hereford. Now, I had hoped for better conditions to introduce you guys, but we have to make do with what we have. It's been raining the entire day. We drove 2 hours one way to get him, 2 hours back. But he is going to help us increase our resiliency. We looked into getting artificial insemination, or AI as it's known, for our girls. But the price that was going to be, it actually made more sense to buy him. Now, we could have done AI once, and it would have been cheaper. Second, third time, would have paid for him. So we went ahead and bought him, because now we're not responsible for liquid nitrogen for shipping or somebody to come over and do it for us. We can handle it here. So we're increasing our own resiliency. Now you might ask, what does that have to do with me? I have no interest in owning a bull or any of these ridiculous wild things you're talking about. Well, you can increase your own resiliency right now in very small ways by doing things like getting out of debt, paying a little extra on debt. Let's not even start with getting out of it. Pay a little extra this month on debt. Maybe buy a book that has something to do with knowledge and learning, because the internet might not always be here. Color me crazy, civilizations have collapsed before. You can increase your resiliency with knowledge. You can increase your resiliency with growing some food. You can make little changes today. We've been on this path for almost 20 years. So what you're witnessing on this channel is a culmination of a whole bunch of little steps of resiliency. You don't necessarily have to grow your own food to be resilient. There's a bunch of ways you can be resilient right now, starting today. So do it. Become more resilient. Then become part of a community that is endeavoring to become more resilient. Half of this guy and this girl right here belong to some friends of ours that live in the city. It's our version of a cow share, just a couple families. So we are able to bring more animals to this property, and they are able to own animals without owning property. Be careful with those types of arrangements. Make sure you're very good friends with the people you're doing them with so you don't run into issues. I have heard nightmare stories. But that's it. Pedro's here. He's in our hot wire pen training area. Oh, the milk bottle. Obviously, it's for him. He's 4 months old. He's mostly weaned, but we have access to raw milk. So we have it on hand in case he needs it. But from what we understand, he has transitioned 90-95% to good grasses and a little bit of grain mix to get him going. So we do have a little bit of grain mix, just for the little beginning. Keep growing as you grow. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time here at Flannel Farms. Bye.
You ever thought about putting that bull over there? Or maybe over there? Yeah.
Talk to me about fitness. I invented fitness. I'm the supreme authority on fitness. Nobody knows fitness like I know fitness.